War. War never changes.
It seems like we Sonic fans can never come to a consensus on which games are good and which games are an unholy abomination that will turn you into a pillar of salt if you even look at them, just like Lot's wife from the Bible. And whenever we stop fighting like rats in a shoe over the length of Sonic's quills in order to come to an agreement on whether or not a game is good or bad, you can almost certainly guarantee that we will call you a brain-dead troglodyte if you still hold that opinion in 5 years. So are us Sonic fans just whiny, argumentative, unwashed basement dwellers that have no idea what they even want? Yes. But I've isolated 3 key components of what makes a Sonic game a winner. So please join me in this overly long and tedious video essay that could have been an email where I explore the fundamentals of a good Sonic game. Flow, sauce, and can I fucking play it? Oh yeah, just like that. Flow is probably what comes to mind when you think of level design in a Sonic game. There's nothing quite like that feeling of not only gaining momentum in a Sonic game, but maintaining that momentum for as long as possible through fast reflexes and practice. In many cases, once you find the optimal path in a Sonic level, you'll be able to just keep the flow going without stopping, as long as you don't miss a jump or take a hit. It's not just about speed, it's about spectacle, and it's what makes Sonic games so replayable. There's nothing quite like the feeling of getting totally locked in on a Sonic level and entering that flow state. This is one of the reasons why there are so many people who absolutely hate Sonic games. I've heard a lot of people say that Sonic encourages you to go fast, but if you try, you run into everything. And yeah, that's kind of the point. The speed comes when you practice the levels and can now actually take advantage of the level design to gain speed. If you can't platform at high speeds, you'll end up on a route without much spectacle going on, just regular old hop and bop platforming challenges. Meanwhile, people who know how to play a Sonic game are on the top path stringing action chains together through crazy set pieces and snatching that S rank. Like, you are watching me play the same stage right now. Now, before we go any further, I gotta address the mammoth mogul in the room. The boost games still have flow despite there being a go fast button, as some very sad, lonely, untouched Sonic fans like to call it. Hey, new things can be fun, Grandpa. Give it a try sometime. Boost games still require you to react quickly to incoming obstacles and action chain opportunities in order to remain on the fastest path. If you suck, your boost will constantly be interrupted by spikes, walls, enemies, and pitfalls. Is it easier to hold on to your speed in a boost game? Yeah, of course, but that doesn't mean there isn't a need to go back and practice a level to get in that flow state. Don't believe me? Here's a clip of my wife playing a day stage in Sonic Unleashed. Yeah, see how the boost button doesn't seem to be the missing ingredient here? Now watch me play through the same section of the level. See how I was able to keep the ball rolling and get that sense of speed and flow? That's what a Sonic game needs in its level design. If it were really just as simple as boost to win, then every playthrough of this stage would look pretty much the same regardless of the player's skill level. Pacing also contributes to flow, like for example in Sonic Frontiers when you have to do those stupid Coco minigames to get Chaos Emeralds. That's fucking up the flow. Which is sad because I personally think Frontiers broke a lot of great new ground with flow. Specifically having so much flow in an open environment. It really gives the player a lot of freedom to decide what action change they string together in order to enter that flow state. But anyway, my point with flow is a lot of Sonic games achieve this in different ways, but the best Sonic games will give you consistent potential for spectacle without sending you on dumbass errands that have nothing to do with speed, platforming, or showing off. That's what ultimately makes up flow. So this was a term I'd heard people use to describe certain Sonic games at one point, but I haven't heard it in a minute, so let me explain a little of what I'm talking about here. Perhaps the best way to describe it is to show you a game with absolutely no sauce. See how this game looks and feels like something you've seen a million times? It's exactly what you would expect out of a platformer, just basically bargain bin Mario. Now on the flip side, here's a Sonic game that is absolutely sopping wet with Sonic's delicious sauce. Like, huh? Where do I even begin? For one, Sonic isn't in the kind of environment one would expect to see a cartoon blue hedgehog. He's running through a seemingly realistic cityscape, but wait, is it realistic? There are floating rings, loop-de-loops, and to top it off, a giant fucking truck barrels through the city after you at the end of the level. Meanwhile, the best music ever fucking made is blasting in the background. Beethoven can suck Jun Sano's dick. I'll take City Escape over Piano Sonata number 14 any day. And for those who say I cherry-picked these clips, I mean, I showed the end of both Lost World and Adventure 2's first levels, which is typically where most Sonic games try to make a big impression. Like, would it have been more fair if I showed the desert level in Lost World? How about the beach level? Would the extremely unique snow level be comparable to the military occupation of San Francisco as a stage in a Sonic game? Or any stage in Sonic Adventure 2 for that matter? No, I didn't think so. Anyway, a saucy Sonic game isn't just focused on being mechanically functional and fun. It's set on building an atmosphere through its visuals, music, and also its story. Could I be a cynical douchebag and be like, oh, this is dumb, why is Sonic in a real city when he's a talking blue hedgehog? Sure, but the game isn't afraid of that. Would gaming magazines at the time have complained if Sega made a game with serviceable level themes, music, and plot lines that were typical for other games aimed at kids? Doubt it. But that is the essence of sauce. The game does more than is expected of it and is better for it. Hell, the Adventure series is often cited as some of the best Sonic games in the series by fans, despite their many, many flaws. Why? Because they take risks in order to create worlds we want to escape to. I want to sunbathe at Emerald Coast. I want to go spelunking in Aquatic Mine and try my luck at the slots in Casinopolis. Could you imagine exploring the Space Colony Arc? And it's not just the adventure games that are saucy, not by a long shot, especially in terms of music. In general, Sonic games have absolutely phenomenal soundtracks. Sonic music not only adds to the atmosphere, but it's so good that it ends up in my Spotify Wrapped every single year. The Sonic series is not known for its consistency, but one thing that is consistent are the soundtracks. It's crazy how there are Sonic games that released in an almost unplayable state, but somehow the music still came out absolutely goated. The music is so memorable, you'll find yourself humming the songs in your daily life, reminding you of those rolling green hills, that abandoned space station, or whatever other level theme the song is associated with. This is a particularly important component of Sauce. The stories in Sonic games are occasionally wild too, like holy shit, they could be bananas. Going back to SA2 again, do you think people were expecting this children's game to be about a top secret government cover-up and a mad scientist plot to get revenge by ending all life on Earth? Is that something anyone, anywhere asked for? No, but this shit slaps. The story isn't perfect and has its flaws, yeah. But even though it doesn't stick the landing perfectly, I can respect that the game tried to do something cool. The story in Sonic Adventure 2 makes Sonic's world feel lived in and less video gamey. The bad guys have motivations and aren't just bad guys. Even Eggman makes a little more sense when you consider that his grandfather was executed by gun for his research. I can see how that might make Eggman want to use his genius to overthrow the government that tried to suppress his grandfather's creations. Again, the game did more than was expected of it. That's sauce. A Sonic game can also be saucy for its level design. Let's look at a classic game this time, just for variety. So Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 have very linear level designs. Yeah, they had multiple paths, but at the end of the day, you're still just trying to run to the right. Then, in 1993, Sonic CD hit the scene and slapped its 286 megabyte schmeat on the table. The levels are all fucking huge, like giant bouncy labyrinths that you can just get lost in forever. Can you run left to right and beat every level as normal? I mean, yeah, if you're fucking boring and eat like grape nuts every morning or something. But the real way to play Sonic CD is to go for the good ending. There are two ways to do this. First, you could do it the old-fashioned way and collect the time stones. These work just like the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 1. If you pass the Act 1 or Act 2 goalposts with at least 50 rings, jump through the giant ring, then you get transported to the special stage, clear all 7 special stages before beating the game and get the good ending. The special stage in this game are really cool and use rotation and scaling effects to create a 3D playfield where you can go in any direction. But this isn't my preferred method of getting the good ending. The best way to get the good ending, and the way I believe they wanted players to get the good ending, is by traveling to the past and destroying the robot generator in each level. How does one do this? Well, first you have to find a sign that says past. Then you run past the sign and try to pick up enough speed for sparks to appear behind you. Once you have a trail of sparks, you have to hold on to that momentum, or that flow, for a few seconds, and then you'll be transported to the past. From here, you'll explore up, down, and all around this huge, gargantuan behemoth of a level that makes the levels in Sonic 2 feel insecure about themselves and purchase a Ford Ranger. Then, when you find the robot generator, destroy it, complete the level, and boom, you made a good future for that stage. Now just do that for every stage in the game. On paper, that might sound like the most miserable Sonic experience you've ever seen in your life, but it's actually pretty fun. At least I think so. Exploring the levels is a blast, and you'll come across some cool set pieces you wouldn't have seen otherwise. What's also cool is you can explore the future too, and depending on if you've collected all the time stones or if you've made a good future in that level already, you'll be taken to either a good future or bad future version of the stage, each with unique music and theming. Now, let's just say you don't want to do all that and you just want to collect the time stones instead. Even then, you'll most likely end up exploring these levels to a degree. As mentioned before, there are springs all over the fucking place in Sonic CD, and that means you'll probably bounce into something and take damage. This means if you want to finish the level with 50 rings, you're going exploring. Kind of an annoying way to handle that, but I appreciate that it makes me slow down, look around, and get immersed in the absolutely sublime vibes of Sonic CD. Again, they could have just made a regular Sonic game with CD quality audio and a full motion video cutscene or two, but they went above and beyond to bring us a game that's truly saucy. In short, a saucy Sonic game is one that goes the extra mile with its theming, level design, music, story, etc. in order to immerse the player in Sonic's world. Usually this means taking risks and attempting things that may or may not work. Usually the sauciest Sonic games have some big detractors. It's one of the things about a Sonic game that makes it uniquely Sonic, and one of the reasons why we're always bickering with each other. Take Mario, for example. People always ask me why I like Sonic more than Mario. Mario games are clean as fuck. The gameplay is always tight and polished, and pretty much anyone anywhere will think the latest Mario game is at least pretty good. The downside to this is Mario games don't really take a ton of risk with their theming in my view. Oh, Mario has a new hat companion in this one? Try Mario has a gun and a motorcycle and has to decide whether he will save the world or choose to destroy it instead. Sonic is supposed to be youthful and rebellious. It only makes sense that the games would take a lot of risks. Sometimes it doesn't work, yeah, but sometimes it really, really does. And to me, I appreciate the game that clicks with my very specific tastes over the one that just for everyone. Side note, just to be clear, I don't think Shadow the Hedgehog is a better game than Super Mario Odyssey. I fucking love Super Mario Odyssey, and I actually think Shadow 05 is hot garbage. But the idea is that Sonic doesn't play it as safe as Mario. To best illustrate this, let's look at Sonic 1 and Super Mario World, the big competitors at the time. So first, let's look at Super Mario World. It looks good, fun too. Its visual style is simple and clean. It looks kind of basic, but that's the look it's going for. Now let's look at Sonic. Holy fuck, wow. It's so much more colorful. And look at all those layers of scrolling. This was a huge deal back then. You know how Final Fantasy XVI blew everyone's balls off with 8 million particle effects happening at once all the time? This was the 1991 equivalent of that. Plus the speed, of course. Since this is the first game in the series, the flow in this game was really unique and was unlike its competitors, so this one kind of double dips with flow and sauce. Sega did not shy away from comparing these games, so much so that Sega would set up kiosks in malls to let people play Mario World and Sonic back to back and make an informed decision. Can you fucking imagine that? This is Super Mario World we're talking about. The guts it took to go toe-to-toe with this game was crazy. This is why ambition is at the heartbeat of a good Sonic game. Since the first game in the series, Sonic Team has made it a priority to differentiate Sonic from its competition, namely Mario. Essentially, Mario is like pop music. Some of the best pop music ever, in fact. But if you ask me my favorite song ever, it's probably not going to be a pop song. It would be something that not everyone enjoys because it caters to specific tastes. That's sauce. When Sega forgets the sauce and just tries to make safe pop music like Nintendo does with Mario, they end up with just an inferior good to the Mario games. Oh, they didn't have Super Mario 3D World? I guess I'll just get Sonic Lost World instead. No different than Dr. Thunder instead of Dr. Pepper or Stacks to Pringles. Just a disappointing compromise. If you've played a lot of Sonic games, particularly a lot of Sonic games released after Sonic 3 and Knuckles, then you already know what I'm about to say on this. There are a lot of Sonic games that have amazing flow and are saucier than a mukbang video, but are just a fucking beat-up jalopy of a game. Like, I know someone who drove a 1990s Mustang through the entirety of the 2010s. Could you drive fast in a car like that? Yeah. But do you want to? Fuck no, the wheels will fly off. The first game that comes to mind when I think of this issue is Sonic Heroes. Switching between characters while still keeping the flow going will make you bust a fucking nut once you know how to do it. It's so fun. The problem? The speed characters all control like they just shotgunned a Celsius. So you're afraid to go fast for the latter part of the game, which is pretty tragic for a Sonic game, I must say. I don't think I died a single fair death the last time I played this game, and I died a lot. There's always some bullshit. Maybe a homing attack didn't lock on, or you went to switch rails and you flew across the whole fucking screen. It just never ends with this game. Like, watch what happened when I tried to do a team blast here.
Okay.
Like, what the fuck was that? I'm afraid to use team blasts after that. On top of the glitches, there are other issues with the game's mechanics that detract heavily from the experience. Again, the speed characters like Sonic and Shadow move way too fast and are always sliding around. Just play Heroes and try to run in a straight line as a speed character. It's like they're 7 beers over the limit. Not only that, but the game has a leveling system, and woof, they really fucked up on this one. So on paper, the leveling system is a cool idea. Basically, each character can level up 3 times in a stage, and every time a character levels up, their attacks get stronger. Sounds fun, until you realize you reset to 0 every time you die, and enemies at the end of the stage are a lot tougher, because they're assuming all your characters are maxed out at that point. Now combine this with the fact that the game is buggier than an episode of Fear Factor, and that Sonic controls like he's perpetually slipping on banana peels, and you can see how this turns into a nightmare. I feel like I'm always dying for reasons I can't control right at the end of the level. Then every single enemy brings the game to a grinding halt because you can't deal enough damage to kill enemies quickly. You just have to sit there and attack over and over and over again. It's sad because the glitches, control issues, and wonky leveling system take what would have had the potential to be one of my all-time favorite Sonic games and turns it into what I consider to be one of the worst mainline Sonic games. Not the worst by a long shot, but it's up there. Flow, sauce, none of it matters if you can't fucking play it. So now that we've established these core pillars of what makes a Sonic game fun and not the video game equivalent of the scene in Casino Royale where James Bond gets whipped in the nuts over and over, you can see how opinions can differ wildly from person to person depending on what you value in a Sonic game. For instance, one of my favorite Sonic games is Sonic Adventure, similar to many other Gen Z Sonic acoustics. The game feels like it's held together with a glue stick and absolutely shatters the flow with Amy and Big's campaign. Maybe Knuckles and Gamma's campaigns too for some. But the sauce in this game is unparalleled. The game has 6 intersecting stories that all come together for a grand finale at the end. Twice the amount of playable campaigns as the previous entry in the series, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And the stories are a lot more complex too. Plus hub worlds. Now, I know hub worlds and Sonic don't always get along, but in this game, I really like them. It's not hard to figure out where to go, and they aren't very big, so you aren't getting lost except for that jungle area in the Mystic Ruins. But there's only one time during Knuckles' story that it's even ever really an issue. And even then, I mean, his campaign is about treasure hunting and exploration. I guess I'll give it a pass. My point is, though, you can spend as much or as little time in these hub worlds as you want. There's lots of people to talk to, some of which actually have a lot of personality. The girl outside the burger shop immediately comes to mind. Basically, this girl is in love with the guy outside the burger shop, but is too shy to go up to him. And over the course of the story, she gets progressively closer and closer. the twist? If you go up to the burger shop guy and try to interact with him, you'll realize he's a fucking statue. I thought this was really funny and is one of the many interesting interactions you'll have exploring the hub worlds. These hub worlds house special moves for Sonic and his friends to use throughout the game as well, some of which are optional, so there's a good reward for those who are willing to explore. Most importantly, these hub worlds really give Sonic's world a sense of cohesion. You know where the levels are relative to one another in a way you wouldn't just moving from stage to stage. Some people might see them as unnecessary and only serving to slow down the game, but I don't see them that way. If we ever do get a Sonic Adventure remake, I hope they keep the hubs in the game just because they add a lot of sauce. Not to mention, the level themes themselves are cool as hell. Lost World and Twinkle Park are some personal favorites of mine. Also, Ice Cap is here from Sonic 3, and I'm pretty sure the underground portion of Red Mountain is supposed to be Lava Reef. It really gives this game a sense of continuity with the rest of the series up to this point with the inclusion of these areas, and makes me wish we saw every zone from S3 and K remade in this game style. And the music, my god, just divine. SA1 has the best soundtrack in the series if you ask me. You know how in most games there might be one or two songs you listen to outside of the game? With this game, it's every song. Each and every one is an absolute banger. With this in mind, let's say you're a typical Gen Z GameCube kid and Sauce is the biggest of the three pillars for you. Then SA1 is your game. Or let's say you grew up with the classics and you're mostly concerned with flow. Then you'll probably dig around half of it, and if you're someone who doesn't find flow particularly exciting and aren't that interested in Sonic in general, say a game journalist, then really all you care about is if you can fucking play it, which of course you can. Conversely, let's look at Sonic Colors, and oh wow, how the mighty have fallen. Sonic Colors was the game the Sonic series needed at the time it came out. Before Sonic Colors, we had Sonic Unleashed and Sonic 06. Both of which got absolutely shit on at the time of their release. The Sonic franchise was basically a laughingstock in 2010, and there was a sense that if Sonic Team fucked up Sonic Colors, there might not be any more Sonic at all. So fuck up they did not. This game has solid flow from start to finish, which was the major gripe that many had with Sonic Unleashed due to its poor pacing. Yeah, let's be real, most of us lumped Unleash in with the other Dark Age of Sonic games at the time. Like, come on guys, just because the dorky kid had a glow up, you can't just flip the script and act like you weren't picking on them before. There was a time when most people did not like Sonic Unleashed one bit, so much so that it got delisted for a period alongside Sonic 06. You heard that right, Sega thought Unleashed was so bad that they feared continuing to have it sold on digital storefronts would hurt the franchise's reputation further and decided to stop selling it. Do you know how bad a game has to be for a multi-billion-dollar corporation to just be like, actually we don't want to make money off this anymore, take it down. Anyway, Colors corrected Unleashed's big mistake, and unlike 06, we could actually fucking play this one, so it's almost there. But unlike Unleashed, this game has no sauce. None. Sonic Colors is the MRE of Sonic games. It's everything it absolutely needs to be, and not much else. For example, the story. So, Eggman builds an amusement park in space to apologize for being a big old dick all the time. Shit's obviously sus, so Sonic and Tails visit to investigate. Turns out Eggman is using some aliens called Wisps to power his machinery, just like the animals he used to use in the classics, go figure. So Sonic and Tails travel through the park to stop him. Spoiler alert, they do. Wow, step aside, Santa Monica Studio. Sonic Team is gonna show y'all how to tell a story. Like, what the fuck? This is so boring. And all the writing is shit like this.
Baldy nose hair!
Like, this game just keeps the energy here the whole time. You can't go 2 seconds in a cutscene without someone cracking some corny joke. Whenever the characters need to take something seriously, they're all just like, "Ugh, we better save those aliens," and that's it. This game is just so afraid that you're gonna make fun of it and call it cringe, so it's constantly reminding you that it's not taking itself seriously, which many people were clamoring for at the time. So fans of flow and games that aren't broken love this game. But as the sauce-loving 2000s fans are starting to become the dominant force behind Sonic opinions online, the public perception around this game has changed a lot. I think Sonic Team has taken notice given the direction they've gone with Frontiers and Shadow Gens. They've made a big point to slow these games down to encourage more exploration like the adventure games. In other words, they gave up some flow for sauce. These games aren't afraid to take themselves seriously either. They don't care if you think it's cringe, and honestly, I feel like Shadow Gens leans into it a bit with how edgy Shadow is, which I'm so here for. This makes me optimistic for the future of the Sonic franchise for the first time in a long time. Sonic Team has been getting more and more consistent with making games that have flow and are actually finished, but they're afraid to start adding the sauce back in. I mean, they did get a little crazy with it, let's be real. Shit can get a little freaky when you're lost in the sauce sometimes, just ask Ken Penders. But Sonic Team appears to be building up to a playable Sonic game that balances speed with immersion. Who would have thought? Morio Kishimoto, the director of Sonic Frontiers, says he thinks the adventure games are legendary and wants to experiment with building levels that are more in line with those games' design philosophies, namely regarding boost. Plus, with the success of the Sonic movies, I think Sega has gained a lot of confidence in Sonic and will be willing to invest a lot in the franchise going forward. I mean, who knows? We don't even know what Frontiers 2 is going to be called at the time I'm recording this. And they have definitely shit the bed at times like this before, believe me, I know. But I'm just really feeling it this time. Especially if we stop tearing each other apart like fucking animals. I hope this video can sort of serve as a tool to aid discussion about the future of the series. I feel like the Sonic fan base looks stupid as fuck sometimes, myself included, because it seems like we're impossible to please all at once with one game. I don't think that's the issue at all. I think it's sometimes just hard to articulate why we feel so strongly about seemingly minor design changes or lack thereof. Some standard terminology might make getting on the same page a little easier. Like, for example, I want a saucy Sonic game like Adventure with a big emphasis on flow in its level design and pacing that I can actually fucking play without falling through the floor or getting soft locked or something. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching the video. If you liked it, please be sure to beat the absolute shit out of that like button. Just make it really, really feel it. And then if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. That's how I know that you want more. And then if you don't want any more content and think I'm a fucking idiot, please feel free to leave a comment about how stupid I am and how Sonic Lost World's the best game ever. But other than that, thanks so much, and y'all have a great one.